Hey, Kieran, thanks for joining. Welcome to the pod.
Hey, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So what we'll do is we'll do a quick introduction. If you just let us know a little bit about yourself, what you're working on, and then we'll go from there. So over to you.
Yeah, great. So, my name's Kieran Ball. I've been doing no code and visual development, or whatever you want to call it these days, since about 2019. My weapon of choice is Bubble, but I'm always experimenting with different tools, and I'm learning a lot now about automations and stuff like that. AI agents obviously are very hot. My main kind of project or work at the moment is Create With, which started out as a no code and AI conference back in 2024, and then we did another one this year in 2025 in May. And it's growing, and we're trying to launch it into like membership product and all kinds of exciting things, international meetups and loads of different stuff. And then apart from that, I still do a lot of Bubble freelancing, and I've also got one SaaS which is built on Bubble called Typoro, which is like a LinkedIn writing and scheduling tool. So that's probably about a third of the actual things I'm working on, but yeah, they are the main ones that I try and focus on.
Busy guy. So all typically within the kind of no code space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get into no code? What was your initial discovery? Were you trying to build a website and stumbled across it? How did you get into it?
I started out my career doing like banking, and I really loved the spreadsheet side of things. I didn't really like any of the other aspects, but I really liked building stuff on spreadsheets, and kind of to me that was like building apps. So I tried to learn to code for ages. I could never quite get it to stick. Stuff just always broke, and it was really frustrating. But I started hacking around with WordPress for a while, and then I eventually did do a tech startup, which I'd always wanted to do, but it was with a technical co-founder, and we had a team of devs. And even then, even when I sat with the devs and said, "Can you teach me how to code?" Even then, I was like, "This is really hard. This is going to take a lot of effort and time." And then, in 2019, I would think I was on Product Hunt, and I found Glide apps. So Glide, at that point, the tagline was like, build an app from a spreadsheet. And I was like, yes, this is exactly what I've always wanted. So I played around with that for quite a while and built some apps based on like Google Sheets. And that was great. And then I discovered Bubble, and I was like, oh wow, I can actually like build a fully customized like interface with all the logic and everything. And I just got addicted to it, and immediately just started building all these ideas that I'd been storing up for like 10 years before. Within a couple of months of discovering Bubble, I'd built a full SaaS product, even though I'd never done anything like that before. But it just happened because I was enjoying it so much. I think I was spending like 5 hours a day on it. Just went from there.
Awesome. See, that's really interesting because the whole Glide proposition of create an app from a spreadsheet, I remember seeing that. I think they used that marketing strapline for a while. Maybe they even still do now. I always thought, who would want to do that? Like, who would create an app from a spreadsheet? So it's really interesting to me to see how obviously that really called out to you specifically. But for
Yeah.
me, I'm not from the sort of financial side of things or that industry. So I was thinking, I didn't even know that was a use case. Like I didn't know that was something that people would want to do. So it just goes to show how important messaging is more so often than actually the product itself. It's just the positioning behind it. So
Yeah,
it,
absolutely. And the market of spreadsheet users in the world is huge. So if you are one of those people who liked building spreadsheets but always wished you could have an interface on it, that spoke directly to my heart. But yeah, I can totally imagine if you don't use spreadsheets but you still
mm,
have a logical brain. Well, for a start, you should have tried out spreadsheets because they're a lot of fun. But yes, I can see why that wouldn't really resonate with you. But
yeah,
obviously, they were trying to appeal to that massive market of people.
yeah, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your kind of venture and focus on no code itself. So you've got you're working with automations. You've built a SaaS. How does it work from an agency? Would you consider yourself an agency or more of like a freelancer? Are you working on fixed price projects or do you do more templates? What's your kind of approach to no code for client facing work?
I do. So I mainly do freelancing on my own. I've not really got to the point yet where I've kind of outsourced anything. I take on small projects. I try and focus on ones that I know I can get done in a few weeks. So I really, I have worked with AirDev before and done some kind of larger projects, but I think the stuff I really enjoy is the ones that don't really drag on. And I know it's like a finite piece of work. I did actually build my own bubble boilerplate, mainly for, well, to start out with, it was for my own use because I was building so many SaaS products for myself. I was like, I just do the same thing over and over again. So, and also I struggle with design, so I wanted something where I didn't have to think about design. So I spent quite a while building this boilerplate, which has all the functionality that I would need in any SaaS project and has all the design kind of done for me. And that was made possible when Bubble introduced the ability to detach reusable elements. So I could basically make my own UI library within an app. And then since then, most of my clients have come through people who have purchased the boilerplate, played around with it, liked what they saw, but realized they didn't have the time or energy to build an entire SaaS themselves. And then they come to me and say, well, can you build me this with your boilerplate? And I'm like, yes. And it's going to save you a lot of money and time because I already have like it's 100 hours of stuff already in it. So I just focus on like the core functionality. So that for me has worked out really well in terms of a building process and a way to find clients. But yeah, I'm not yet explored like kind of becoming an agency. I'm kind of my dream is to not do so much client work and focus more on other stuff. Like I really like making educational content and things like that. So, and that stuff, as you know, is more scalable than client work. So yeah, not sure. I don't have any clear strategy, but that's what I've been doing so far anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose the boilerplate is a little bit of a lead magnet for you to a certain extent. Like it provides value sitting on its own, and people can consume it. And then obviously it provides a good path for upselling your main sort of high ticket services to a certain extent. And I think there's quite a lot of people building almost like lifestyle businesses with support plugins or templates for the Bubble ecosystem or no code ecosystems as a whole. Um, it seems to be one of those things that at least I've really uh, not got involved with myself. I've always come from the point of view of building products for clients on an agency basis, or at least freelance and then evolving to an agency. But there's so many areas of no code that you can build a really solid lifestyle business around just by providing little tools, little hacks, little plugins, and obviously larger scale templates like boilerplates for SaaS. I think there's a really good opportunity there for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, like I have no idea. Like I don't like the sales for the boilerplate were like really strong for the first 12 months, and then they've really dropped off, and I don't really know why. I feel like I'm not sure if it's the Bubble marketplace or interest in Bubble is kind of somehow declining because of vibe coding and everything. But yeah, it's kind of unpredictable, I feel, unless you have like a whole ton of plugins and stuff out there. Like the ideal situation would be that Bubble will be growing so fast that my boilerplate sales would just continue on and grow and grow. But that, yeah, that definitely hasn't been the case. So I would say it's definitely been like more positive than negative for sure. But it's still not a foolproof way of like making even a lifestyle business. I'd say is
Right. Okay.
you need to do a bit of research on the market and understand like what people are looking for as well.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. And I can see, like me, you've got the custom hat. So talk a little bit about Create With. What's the kind of mission there? Obviously, you touched upon it at the beginning, but what's the mission, the drive behind it? Why did you get started with that?
Initially, we were just like so excited about no code, and we were like, we'd been to a couple of conferences elsewhere, and we were like, okay, we need something in the UK to bring people together, and also just I think we all have this like passion to make people aware of what you can do when you're like quote unquote non-technical, or like you don't need to pay 100 grand to a developer agency for an app when you can potentially build it yourself or at least get it built for a lot less. So we kind of wanted to spread the word on that. Then after the first one, the whole AI thing was started really kicking off, and vibe coding like appeared. So we were then like, okay, you can like AI is great if you're just using ChatGPT, but a lot of people don't realize that if you combine it with no code slash visual development tools, you can do a ton of like crazy stuff that you couldn't even do like a year ago. So it's become more about like getting people from being just a basic like I use ChatGPT and I type in a prompt and it gives me something, to kind of bring them through the journey of realizing, hey, well, you can tie that in with a tool like Zapier or N8N and build like automated workflows that have all the AI stuff you do every day, but it's all automated. And now you can like build AI agents to potentially like autonomously take over some of the busy work you were doing before. And then beyond that, hey, did you know you can now like type a prompt and get a simple app out that's fully functional? And then beyond that, did you know that there are these platforms like Bubble that exist where you can actually develop a full either internal or external facing app and like build a business from it, or just totally streamline your internal ops so you don't have to pay like loads of money to Salesforce anymore because you can build your own custom CRM. So the idea behind Create With is really to try and educate people and take them on that journey from, oh, AI is cool, to realizing being able to use AI is almost like programming, but with plain language. And there's loads of ways that you can actually like, if you're building an AI agent and it's doing something wrong, you are effectively programming it. But just in English, when you're changing its kind of instructions, its prompt, you are programming that AI agent. And the same way, writing a good prompt in like Lovable or Bolt will potentially get you a good app. So yeah, basically it's all about educating people, bringing them together. We've got a big focus on like doing real life events. So like the conference, we're doing meetups now because there are a ton of like AI communities out there, but we really wanted to be, well, our tagline is kind of like the most human AI community. We wanted to actually bring real people together in real life, sometimes online, but a lot of offline stuff as well, and just get people talking about how to use AI more effectively.
Fantastic. And how do you see the intersection between AI and tools like Bubble? Because I know there's a lot of people running scared who are working with Bubble full time, and they're getting more pushback from clients saying, well, I can just generate this myself. I see it as it serves a different purpose to a different type of customer. I think with businesses who want a solution to a problem, no code is the way to go. And DIYers who may be bad fit clients for a no code agency are now less likely to approach no code agencies, more likely to try and generate it themselves and fail, do well, whatever. But I see it as almost like a segmentation in the market. Whereas before, those DIYs had no choice but to go to an agency or try and build it themselves with Bubble, but it's not the same as generating with AI. How do you see that kind of? Do you see a similar thing, or how do you see it?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the serious clients who are like small, medium-sized businesses or even larger, I think they usually have the understanding that if they want a piece of software built for them, it's going to have to be serious. They're going to be in it for decades. They're going to need to be able to understand it and maintain it, or at least have a team that can. Getting AI to write the code for you is just not ideal because you will need developers to maintain that at some point. At least that's the situation now. The impact I think it's had is, yes, it has raised a lot of doubts about the future. So yeah, right now, exactly as you say, I think sensible people are still going to use visual development because you got more control. But the fact that vibe coding is constantly improving, I don't know if there will be a time. I expect there probably will be a time where you can completely build a like production grade SaaS that's secure just by prompting an AI, and then maintain it, and basically the AI will be like a team of decent developers that you would otherwise be hiring humans for. That could be possible. So yeah, I understand totally that it has put a lot of kind of fear and doubt into a lot of people's minds. But the situation now for sure is that, yeah, if you want a serious app, you still need to use visual tools. And I think the vibe coding tools are introducing more and more guardrails all the time. And the no code tools are introducing more and more AI kind of features all the time. So I think the two are really going to converge in the middle at some happy medium where, yeah, the AI is going to do the majority of the work, but you will have some interface where you can make small changes manually or by prompting, but you'll have a visual interface, and you will also have AI constantly like testing for security vulnerabilities and making sure it's really secure, but also like building it in a way that you are able to understand how it works, and not that like you tell the AI to change one thing and it goes and rewrites the entire app and you're like, what have you done? So I think we're going to arrive at a happy medium, but the question is like, which platforms are going to be the winners and losers? Which, you know, what skills do we as freelancers need to be learning to be able to like stay on top of the trends? And it's difficult because the trendy tools are coming and going, and you're just like, okay, what should I be learning? What should I be recording content on? So kind of tumultuous times, but yeah, I agree. For now, visual development is still the way to go.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a bit of an arms race at the moment in the AI space, and obviously Bubble are working very hard to implement AI, and they've done some really great stuff with the AI MVP generator and other bits and pieces that they're working on as well. But I do think, yeah, you're absolutely right. There's going to be some kind of convergence, a middle ground, and then I also think packaging, how it's packaged and how it's marketed, will produce winners and losers. Rory Sutherland had a really great talk on packaging and particularly the air fryer. So obviously the air fryer, fantastic bit of kit. I've got two in the background over there. But when it first came out, it was game changing bit of tech. But it was pitched as an air fryer, with the keyword there being a fryer. So all the people that would be potentially interested, health and fitness enthusiasts, people who wanted to cut calories, they saw it as a fryer. Even though it was air, it was still a fryer. And they were also stocked in the same shelves as deep fat fryers in retail. So there's still like an association between the two, which meant that it wasn't the right fit for people who actually it would have been a perfect fit for. And it's taken a long time to kind of for that to change. So I think it comes down to packaging with these, because the word vibe coding to me wouldn't attract a larger company. Just the word vibe, I think,
Yeah.
is very much a DIY keyword, very much a freelancer, people who are just kind of playing around. So if any of these companies can reinvent that, or at least reinvent the way their tools are thought of and positioned, at the moment it seems to be so many AI wrappers cropping up that generate apps, and they all seem to share the same positioning statement of generate an app idea within a few hours, and that is great for those entry level people, but it's not great, and it's not positioned to the kind of corporates, the bigger companies who are now shifting more to no code, where you do have that control and you can define privacy rules, and you're not deleting half of your database, or your half of your code base, sorry, with a prompt to actually improve something elsewhere on the platform. So really interesting time, really interesting time. Okay, I think in terms of your focuses, like, what have you said no to recently? Have there been any opportunities where you thought, oh, I could just dabble in that, or I could just try this, but you've thought, nope, I'm going to stay focused on what I'm doing now? Have you got any stories you're proud of in that space?
I'm terrible at saying no. Um, yeah, I don't I don't say no enough. There's like I had another SaaS that I was working on with this other guy. It was which he built on my boilerplate, and then he asked me to come in on it, and it's a AI powered video generator for TikTok. And yeah, we've just recently decided to kind of wind it up because we were just hitting across so many problems, and he was doing a fantastic job of getting people signed up, but we were having real difficulty with card payments being rejected and stuff like that. So yeah, it felt good to finally like put that one to bed. Although I should say, I mean, it is still operational. I haven't shut down the app or anything crazy like that. But yeah, it felt good. It felt good to like jettison one of the many projects I have ongoing. And yeah, I'm sure I've said no to some other stuff, but really, yeah, I do try and guard my time more carefully these days, but I am not very good at saying no.
Yeah, I read one of your blog articles actually on the website, and there was a really interesting, it made me laugh, interesting quote that, like many bubblers, we're prone to building apps on a whim and then trying to sell it. Obviously, I've done that so many times. So yeah, it's just a question that I thought would be be relevant to you. Okay, brilliant. So who are you listening to at the moment? Do you have any people you follow, audiobooks you listen to, podcasts? Who are you kind of consuming content from?
Well, that's a great question. So honestly, I am not consuming much content from anyone these days. I went through a long period of time listening to a lot of podcasts, indie hackers podcast, anything about indie hackers, I would listen to. But yeah, these days I find I just don't have any time. I mean, I've got two young kids. There's not really any times when I have any like moments to sit and listen to podcasts. So yeah, definitely in the last year or so, I haven't done any of that. I barely read books. But I do feel like after a few years of listening to indie hackers and This Week in Startups and stuff like that, I felt like I was consuming the same content again and again, just told by different people, and it's all stuff that I already knew. But it is helpful to listen to that stuff, and for sure for people getting started in anything, like I think you need to go through all that and listen to all that content, because it gets you in the right mindset, and eventually you learn so much about building startups and trying stuff out and shipping fast and all these principles. But then once you've heard that enough times, like I just felt like even when I'd get a really good insight, I would be like, I've got to do that. I would never actually do it. So it just felt like hours and hours wasted. So these days, like, honestly, I spend my time, if I am going to consume any content, it will be technical tutorials on YouTube, like how to do something in N8N or how to do something technical in Bubble. And then I will use that to like further my skills, my technical skills. But yeah, I don't really consume any kind of general startup-y stuff anymore.
Great. Final question, which I'm asking every guest on the podcast, is if I could wave a magic wand and make one thing come true in your business in the next 6 months, what would that be?
Well, I've got two. So my two main businesses, Typoro, LinkedIn writing and scheduling tool. I would just like to see some traction, because our tool is actually as good as, if not better than, almost all of the comparable tools on the market. And we're doing some good marketing. We've got a real problem with converting people to paying customers, and so I'd love to solve that and just see it start to take off, because it's frustrating knowing that we have a good product, and yet seeing people like going to inferior products, and they're all doing really well. So that's one. And then the second one, for Create With, we are, like I said, just about to launch a memberships product. And so, yeah, I'd like to see that take off, because I think that would really enable us to do a lot more stuff if we had like some kind of more recurring revenue rather than just relying on one-off events and stuff like that. I think that would be a great enabler for me and Ash and James, who are the core team. And we're like, all three of us doers. We all want to get loads of things done and make big changes happen in the whole community. But it would be very reassuring to be able to actually like pay ourselves some money and turn it into a viable business.
Fantastic. Kieran, it's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks for having me.